most influential sports talk show. Welcome to Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this, what is today, the 28th? No, 26th day of November. Got a great show with you for tonight. Got a two-part show, folks. Got a two-part show. So 34 minutes past the hour, I will be off the live show. But 35 minutes past the hour, I have a follow-up interview with Mike Richman. Mike Richman is the author of the, and I'm going to go ahead and put Mike's, website, talking about his book here, about George Allen, A Football Life. I've had him on before, but I've actually have the book now. We go into the book. He talks about some details. This is a very big book, folks. Hardback cover book here. Some really good stuff. So that will be on 35 minutes past the hour's recorded interview. Done a little earlier today with Mike Richman. You know, we're pretty close to Thanksgiving. Wanted to get this out of the way early. And I totally understand that. But Mike, so make sure and check that out. We talk about Jayden Daniels. We talk about the Commanders. So make sure and pay attention to that. That's going to be good stuff. Also tonight, got the Power 5. Got my NFL Power 5. Tonight's Tuesday. Going to go over that. And also, you know, we'll talk about last night's game. I tell you, the Chargers are not quite ready yet. They're probably an off-season away. Got a little ahead of them. This Raven team, man, they are just got a lot of gumption, a lot of grit on that football team. We'll talk about them, talk about that great performance by the Philadelphia Eagles. But first, let's take our first and only break. I'll be back here momentarily, and we'll hit the ground running here on the Real Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program.
I'm Mac, CEO of National Streaming Sports and host of the Mac and Jack Sports Show. You're watching the sharp-dressed man and the big story breaker, Robert Butler, on Sports Scope, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern on National Streaming Sports.
Introducing National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk programming that you can access 24/7. For the premier sports talk experience, tap into our Roku channel. Start your mornings with Mac and Jack covering all the weekend sports action. Then pour a cup and enjoy all the sports you can drink on the Coffee and Sports podcast. At midday, talk sports from east to west on the Coast to Coast podcast. Followed at night by some hot girl talk with Prim and Proper Sports featuring Sonia Pearson. Talk boxing on the Gloved Fist. Yankee fans tune in for Start Spreading the News. And there's more on the College Sports Huddle and Sports Scope with Robert Butler. There are 20 podcasts in all and 70 weekly shows giving us a 3.4-star viewer rating. To find us on Roku TV, search for National Streaming Sports on the Roku search bar. Click on the logo and you're in. National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk for America.
All righty then. And again, folks, you just joined me. This show, the live show will end at about 34 minutes past the hour. But my interview with Mike Richman, author of this George Allen book, we're also going to talk about the Commanders, Jayden Daniels, the state of that team. It's a good 22-minute or so interview. Make sure and stand by for that. And also, quick announcement, this will be the only live show until Friday when the Mad New Yorker comes back. Got some stuff at the day job got to do to make up for the holiday pay because I'm a contractor and whatnot. So, but I will be back with the Mad New Yorker. We'll go over some things and we'll pick this week's biggest games in the NFL. And I don't know, maybe a few in the college game as well. Well, we shall see. Okay, last night's game. I just got done watching the Manning cast. By the way, side note here: you can order this George Allen book at the bottom of the screen. You can see it now there in my show live, and of course, you can see it there in the interview. There, you can order it at www.mikerichmondjournalist.com. And also, let me make sure. I told Mike I would do this. Let's see. Mike is. You can also find Mike the Twitter at MSR _ journalist. The word journalist, and you can order it that way. And of course, you can also order his book off of Amazon, which is what I did. Okay, all right. Now enough of that. Again, go back, watch the Manning cast, recorded this game. I actually picked Carlos got one on me on there. I picked this Charger team to beat the Ravens. The Ravens come off. The Ravens have not had their bye week. They played the Steelers last week. Very physical team there on the road. I felt like the Chargers, looking at this game coming in, that they were probably in better shape to win this game, the way their defense had been playing. And the truth of the matter is, none of that come to fruition last night. A lot of missed tackles, a 51-yard touchdown, untouched by, who was that, Justice Hill there. They still have to clean up some of their cap issues to solidify that defense. A lot of missed tackles there. And I'm sure Jim Harbaugh playing his coaching against his brother, John, I'm sure he was not happy with that at all. Also, get another. They're going to have to get another deep threat. I mean, you can't rely on an undersized Ladd McConkey. Quentin Johnson, I don't think, caught a ball all night. Josh Palmer, Justin Herbert missed. They should have been more aggressive in this game. In certain spots there, I noticed that the Ravens were. John was. They went for on 4th and 1 inside, their own 25-yard line. Very bold. That turns out to be a score there. We know they lost Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. Williams' injury problem, Allen's age. But I made some notes here this morning reading over this. Harbaugh's toughness simply has not sunk in with this team yet. Remember, they lost a few weeks ago, talking about this Charger team, to Arizona, and now a beat-up Raven team without Roquan Smith. Just not good. They're not going to be a team that's going to go far. They're going to make the playoffs. They might win a game or two, but depending on the matchup. But they're not going to go very far. Need another offseason. Add a tough linebacker in there. They need a tackle, per se. They need a linebacker. They need a defensive tackle, and they need a deep threat at receiver there. Something they could possibly do in the draft. And, of course, free agency and whatnot. Just very disappointing. On the flip side, Ravens have one of the fastest, most powerful offenses I've ever seen. Given the defensive struggles, they should have 3 more losses, 1 last night, 2 to Cincinnati, just off the top of my head. They got the combo of speed and power. I don't know if I've ever seen a team that had a combo of a guy that is fast as Lamar Jackson is right now in his prime and is powerful and also has a lot of speed for a 31-year-old. That Derrick Henry. I mean, they are just they're really impressive. They're one of the most dynamic teams in the NFL. Got 2 tight ends that can catch the ball. I want to say they're second in overall points scored. They're really impressive. Now, they got to play Philadelphia next week. They've got to play Philadelphia next week, or this coming up weekend. I say next week. It's this weekend. It's going to be a short week. Again, they should lose this game, but they find ways to win games that they're underdogs in. So, I mean, John Harbaugh's done a really good job. Lamar's not panicking. Their offensive line, 3 replacements, no problem. Really impressed with the Ravens, man. That was good. And then my point was, talking about this on Friday's program, they got the bye week coming up. And you really don't want to play them after they get healed up after this late bye week coming up after this week, which will be, we're talking around December. It's a really late bye. I don't think they should have byes that late. But, them last 5 games or so, they could potentially run the table. And that's playing a Baltimore team or a Pittsburgh team who matches up really well against them. So, and then they could take that and roll that into the playoffs. Even if they get in as a wild card, now they're only 1 game back. They picked up the game that they lost head-to-head to the Steelers because the Steelers lost. Now I think Steelers will bounce back, but it's going to be an interesting race there. Even if they don't do well, sometimes it seems like they play better on the road. They like to play They like to play on the road for whatever reason. They like to play the villain team. They always did when they beat up on Tennessee in the past. I'll tell you that. Okay. So, Eagles. I tell you, I had to go over the 2 most impressive performances of the week first. I tell you, this Eagles team, I like this particular Eagles team. Some might not, some may disagree with me because that other Eagles team made it to the Super Bowl. But this Eagles team feels like it doesn't have the holes that the other one did. That other one will give us some big plays. They'll give us some underneath stuff. Remember that other team defensively, the one that got to the Super Bowl against, even though they look great at times, they couldn't get a stop in the second half against Kansas City. This team, this running game on this team particularly is unbelievable. 302 all-purpose yards by Saquon Barkley, 255 rushing. Totally mad. And that was another game I was off about. Rams are still pretty finesse. They got a good pass rush, but they're a little bit soft in the middle. And I know they're bad on the back end. That's something that they're going to have to address also in the offseason as well. But this Eagle team, second half, putting up, 37 points. Like Baltimore, Kansas City, physical style just seems to be winning, going deep into the playoffs. Finesse teams in September, they play better. Power with creativity wins in December through February, which is the Super Bowl. In this league, the run game with some balanced passing, not 4 wide every other play. This Eagles team is shaping the way I imagine them coming into the offseason with Howie Roseman assembling this team, folks. I said that this could potentially, looking at their draft, Quentin Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Saquon Barkley running behind this line. I wasn't sure how Jason Kels would, the loss of him, how they would replace the center position. That's fine here. Maluga, whatever his name is, that left tackle's fine there. And, of course, Lane Johnson, 35, 36-year-old Lane Johnson still holding it down at right tackle. Now, if they lose him, that's getting late in the season. This could happen. It's not very good for it is not very good there for Jalen Hurts if they lose Lane Johnson. That being said, I remember my preseason prediction, folks, if you guys have been watching me for a long time, was that this Eagle team would play at Detroit for the NFC Championship game. The way things are looking, that could very well go now. That could very well happen right now. So Detroit, that's keeping their edge. They're looking, they don't want to be in Philadelphia in the middle of January playing a football game. Even though I think they can go up there and win, they want that game to be in loud, fast track Detroit. Okay. They want it to be up there, So that's probably what Dan Campbell's telling Detroit right now. He's telling those players, hey, look, these guys are coming like a house of fire. We want to play up there. We don't want to play where they could muck it up over there in Philadelphia. We want that game to be here. So, plus you want to get that game where you're not playing a game. You're getting that bye week, So, anywho, very, very impressive game by this Eagles team. All right. And of course, let me say the not so good. Listen, today's Tuesday. In 2 days, we're going to have a football game at around 3. What time is it? Around 3:30 Central, 4:30 Eastern. And yes, they got to play it. Now, Dallas did. We talk about this, like I said, at 35 minutes past the hour. 35 minutes past the hour. The second part of the program will be my interview with Mike Richmond, and we talk about this game. I mean, it just a lot of mistakes, a lot of points left on the field by that Commander team. But Dallas showed up. Dallas showed up and played, as banged up as they've been with Cooper Rush and that team, and didn't know if CD Lamb was going to play. Mike McCarthy had these guys ready to play here. And now Jerry Jones on his radio show, he's talking about an extension for Mike McCarthy, because this is when you really find out what your team is made of. This is when you find out what your team is made of when you are in a situation where you've had this many of injuries. And he's known they've made a lot of mistakes. They cannot run the football. They've lost their starting quarterback for the season, and Dak Prescott. They have every reason to throw in the towel. They didn't. They came in ready to play. And now on this radio show, McCarthy's talking to, or Jerry Jones is talking about extending Mike McCarthy. We thought McCarthy was going to be inevitably fired. We're already putting in Deion Sanders there with Schroeder Sanders. And then Jerry throws in a wrench into that. By then, now we don't know if that's going to happen yet or not. We got to let this thing play out. On the flip side, the Giants coming off that bye week, but the week where they end up cutting, by his request, Daniel Jones, cutting him by his request, Daniel Jones, and of course, Dexter Lawrence, their defensive tackle, said he wasn't happy. We let our best player go. You're starting to get rumbling in the locker room. And they were total no-show. And they were getting booed out of their own stadium. I want to say it was 23-0 at halftime. Gave up 30 points and put Tommy DeVito in there instead of Drew Lock, the backup quarterback. It says to your fan base, we are tanking. And you're watching the fans leave in probably 15 minutes left, 10, 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter, leaving the stands. And it looks like they quit on him. You got Malik Neighbors after the game saying that he don't know why. Yeah, he said, now you want to start targeting me when we're down 30-0. So he's a rookie complaining about targets. I mean, I'll tell you something. Let me say this. I know he's just a rookie. I don't know he's an amazing talent. He's already had some big catches this year. Came in with a lot of hype. I hyped him. I mean, I watched him. But he's already turning into a problem, and he's not even signed his second. He's not even in his first contract. He's already seen film on him and strip clubs and all that stuff. Malik Neighbors, that was one of the knocks on him. He's a little bit of a partier. I'm sure behind the scenes they're thinking, we're not really sure what we got here. We might have Odell Beckham 2.0 or potentially worse here, but he's already complaining about that. We talked about Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence saying we're soft. All that points towards Brian DeBall. Okay, I haven't even mentioned the fact that I think Brian DeBall may get fired, but now when you see, and the team looks like they quit on it. Now I'm telling you, because Thursday, if Dallas trounces the Giants, I got a feeling the Giants going to play them hard come Thursday. I really do. I got a feeling they're going to play hard. They got humiliated. They just had a bye week, so they should be somewhat fresh, you know. And I said this about the Browns. I said, you know what? They didn't play up the par, even though they had their set of injuries. The Browns did not play up the par against Cleveland or against New Orleans. And I said, you know something? They're at home. It's a short week. And I know that Tomlin's teams are not very good. I don't think he's won any road games in these Thursday games. And also he plays down to the competition. And, of course, we know what happened. The upset happened. The Browns did beat them. I think there's a chance there. I think there's a chance they could win. Now, if they lay another egg and Dallas trounces them with all these backups, they beat them like 30-7. If it's another Tampa Bay type of game, there's a chance by towards the end of this weekend that Brian DeBall's fired, and I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Sheehan ain't fired towards the end of the season. You know, I've already had my complaints about their general manager for them not trading Saquon Barkley when they had the opportunity to, not trading, and now you're eating a contract anyways, not finding a way to trade off of Daniel Jones and whatnot. You at least have to exercise that. And I'm not sure if the numbers didn't work out where they absolutely could not trade Daniel Jones. I don't even know if they even tried to trade him at the deadline. It seems like they just panicked. Hey, let's just cut him at his own. Let's release him at his own request. Well, I know now I wouldn't have put him on scout team playing safety, you know, filling in there, but I just felt like they probably not using him adequately. No, that's not what I would say. Not totally exercising your options as an organization. That's being a little too close to the players here. You know, I know they could have got something for Saquon Barkley, even if it was a later round pick. You know, traded him on a when they had him franchised. You know, but he just they dropped the ball. They're getting worked by guys like Howie Roseman, who seems to kick their butt in the front office. Now, if they do get another general manager, you have the Dave Gettleman disaster. Now you got the Joe Sheehan disaster. So now you're going to have another. You're going to have another general manager clean this thing up again. So we'll see. They need to play hard come Thursday, and quite frankly, it would be good if they actually won to save Brian DeBall's job for sure. Okay, so I talked about the good and I talked about the bad and the ugly. Now it's Tuesday, folks. Let's get to the Power 5. Okay? As I started off at the beginning of the program, I was really, really impressed with this Ravens team. Now, looking at the stats here, they're number one in offense and yards per game. Check this out. 426 yards per game. This is a team that's traditionally been known, those of you who've been following the Ravens since they've been the Ravens for what, 25, 30 years? They had been the Ravens. Remember, they actually used to be the Cleveland Browns, known for defense and hard to find a quarterback. But the number one offense in the league, 426 yards per game, better than Detroit. By the way, now their second rush defense, they were the number one run defense in the league. I want to say Minnesota's number one now, but their second run defense put 30 on the league's best points defense last night in this Charger team. They still do give up plays on the back end, but I can see a run after their bye in 2 weeks. I mentioned that at the beginning of the program. I can really see this team hitting the ground running and possibly taking that run going into the playoffs, and possibly if they get the right draw, they could get to the Super Bowl, this Ravens team. But then again, I mean, Buffalo's getting healthy. Buffalo can take their own bye week. They're so far ahead in the AFC East. Then, of course, you got Kansas City. They don't want to draw Kansas City. They don't want to draw Pittsburgh. I think they beat Buffalo. They did beat Buffalo, beat the crap out of them early this season. It's really containing Derrick Henry. That's the big issue there. But they're number 5 on my Power 5. All right. Now, Buffalo's number 4. They fell down the notch without playing a team in front of them to have more defensive. They do have more defense balance and depth. Going to have to see more out of them, more consistency per se. Their running game is still at times the Bills. My concern is they do rely on Josh Allen too much. I mean, they've gotten better at that, but they still want to rely on Josh Allen. Remember the big run he made in the Kansas City game before their bye week, which is a great time. Anybody that's got a bye week in November is really good. But they're on a bye week right now. And they have opened up the practice window for Matt Milano. That's huge. Best linebacker out there for them. Let's see how that plays out here. But we'll see. Like I said, big lead on the AFC East, can take their own bye week 18. They've got a lot of experience. They know they can beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. It comes down to a player or two. Now they're 0-3, but they're right there. The Chiefs never really destroy them. Not sure how they would match up against the Ravens. They would play better than they did in regular season. They had a lot of injuries, and Ravens beat up on them. But right now, I got them at number 4. Plus, they're going to be able to get healthy at tight end and wide receiver, too. Add in some Keon Coleman, Amari Cooper, and Khalif Shakur. I mean, he's starting to come to a regular there in the slot at the wide receiver position, too. So they're starting to come together at the right time. A lot of young players got rid of the Stephon Diggs. Let's see how they look past the bye week. I could see them potentially going on a run as well. Okay. Now I've moved Philly up to number 3. I just opened up the program. They were the second story I was talking about here. 300 plus all-purpose yards. Saquon Barkley. He is on pace to get the all-time rushing record. This dude is really, really on a mission this year. Did not think he was going to play this well. And I talked about how well they're playing even without Travis Kelce and the older Lane Johnson. They have not missed a beat from the team 2 years ago. They have more balance, front, middle, and back than that Super Bowl team defensively. So we're going to find out a lot about them this weekend. I think they'll beat the Ravens, but I have to look at the injury report and see if nothing popped up there during the week or whatnot. And I have to look at the Ravens, see if they get Roquan Smith back. Ravens are really tough to beat. But anyways, I've got them at number 3 right now. They got the number 2 seed in the NFC, by the way. And they're right there on that Detroit Lions team's heels. As long as Jalen Hurts can stay healthy, this team and Nick Sirianni, he's staying out of the way. He's let Keelan Moore call the game. They're leaning into that power game, and this young secondary at spots. These guys are really coming together as well. Plus, they've got some, they got some vets there in the secondary as well. So it's not all young players. It's a good mix there. And Jalen Carter's playing really good football right now. Second-year defensive tackle. He's looking like the guy that they drafted early last year out of Georgia. The best of that bunch that they drafted from Georgia. Now, and of course, I've got Kansas City at number 2. Almost lost to a lowly Carolina team. Now, that was their second road game. Carolina had that late bye week. But they will have everything I'm reading. Isaiah Pacheco, explosive running back, will be back this week. Plus, I mean, Mahomes, he's starting to use other targets here. Noah Gray, I want to say he's had starting to get some touchdowns there taken away from Kels. We know Kels is a little older. They're working with what they got. They're getting better. You're getting Worthy involved with DeAndre Hopkins there. Getting a lot of balance. Now you got Kareem Hunt and you've got Isaiah Pacheco, who's really explosive coming back here, possibly this weekend. Or maybe was it Friday against the Raiders here. So really good stuff there. Let's see. And, of course, Detroit at number one. I mentioned it, Kels. Let's see. They don't have to blow out every opponent. I'm talking about the Chiefs some more. But they can get it done in the playoffs. Ask the teams, Buffalo, Baltimore. They seem to get nervous when they play the Chiefs. And, of course, number one, Detroit, crushing teams on the road, covering the point spreads by double digits. They're number 2 in rushing defense, number 5 in total. They are second in yards per game offensively. They're the most balanced team in the NFL right now. So, again, you got Detroit at number 1. You've got Detroit at 1. Kansas City at 2. You got the Chiefs at 2. Philadelphia Eagles at 3. The Buffalo Bills at 4. And the Baltimore Ravens have moved into the 5th slot. Okay? Again, I know the Ravens are a little banged up and whatnot, but I do believe this Ravens team, this Ravens team is going to get healthy after their bye week, and they could potentially go on a long playoff run coming up here. Again, I'm about to cut this show short. This is just a live show, okay? I've got about a minute and a half. Again, I wanted to thank Mike Richmond for coming back on the program. Hey, this guy's got a lot of good stories here. He talks about this George Allen book here, and huge book, by the way. I was asking about. He talks about why he wrote such a big. This is a long book. This is 400 plus pages. That's not counting the epilogue in this book, folks. This is over 500 pages, this book right here. You can get it on Amazon, which is the one I got it. Now, I got this for like $40-something off Amazon, but this is a hardback cover book. This is really well put together. A lot of real this is one of the better coaches, has a special team background here. George Allen, he's worked with coaches like Dick Vermeil, Super Bowl winning coach here, Marv Levy, who went to 4 straight Super Bowls with the Buffalo Bills. A lot of smart, innovative minds learn from this guy. So that's the reason why you should get a guy like get a George Allen book if you're a big football fan, like I am now. Of course, as busy as I am, I told him it may be a while before I get it all read with these crazy amount of jobs I've been working and everything. But either way, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this program up. Have a good night, everybody, and I'll see you Friday live. Stay tuned for part 2, but I'll see you Friday live back with the Mad New Yorker. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, here on The Real Sports.